To say that the Democratic Party is in a complete state of chaos would be an understatement. In 2016, as we all know, the DNC cheated Bernie Sanders out of the nomination to nominate a wildly unpopular candidate, Hillary Clinton, who went on to lose the general election. And today we are still seeing absolute chaos, and the DNC is now being exposed, plotting a way to steal the election from Bernie Sanders. But wait, of course, the media is still going after Trump. We're not done. But the latest story from Politico shows that Michael Bloomberg, who bought his way into the Democratic debate, has been privately lobbying the moderate Democrats to support him in the event of a brokered convention. Right now, the latest 538 prediction model shows that no one will win the Democratic nomination. That is the most likely outcome. So Bloomberg is rallying the Democratic establishment to steal it away from Bernie Sanders, even if he gets the popular vote in the primary. Because as far as anyone can tell, as far as I can tell, the Democratic nominating process is rigged to allow high-profile elites to decide who the nominee will be. Now, for all the things I disagree with Bernie Sanders on, the one thing we agree on is that if he wins the vote, he should be their nominee. But of course, the DNC has the delegate process and the super delegate second round. Michael Bloomberg is hoping to exploit this so that at the DNC, at the Democratic National Convention, the moderates will all side with him and push out Bernie Sanders. Boy, can you imagine the absolute chaos in the streets of Milwaukee at the DNC when Bernie Sanders gets robbed again. Now, there are some good reasons why the Democrats are rejecting Bernie Sanders. His policies are not very popular outside of urban centers, and the guy just had a heart attack. But now we're seeing another thing that's very interesting because the cheating, in my opinion, extends beyond just Bernie Sanders. They're actually just going after the populists in general. They hate Donald Trump much the same, but they also hate Michael Bloomberg for some reason. There is no unity in the Democratic Party. It is absolute chaos, and the media can't decide who to smear, Trump or Bloomberg. So let's break this down. The first thing I want to do is show you the story and explain to you how the establishment is going to steal the nomination from Bernie. And then I want to show you how they're going to try and smear and discredit Donald Trump. We'll see how things play out. The first story from Politico, Bloomberg quietly plotting brokered convention strategy. The effort is designed as a political backstop to block Bernie Sanders by poaching supporters from Joe Biden and other moderates. Now, before we read on, make sure you head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's many ways you can give, but the best thing you can do is share this video. This is going to be important news for Bernie Sanders supporters, I'd imagine. So if you find yourself on the left, you should pay attention to this. This is how they're going to steal it from Bernie Sanders. Now, again, I think there's good reasons why they're scared of a Bernie Sanders nomination. All that really matters. And here's the bad news for you on the left and the Democrats. You're going to lose to Donald Trump. Now, the media is trying to smear the president, but the fact that the Democratic Party is fractured this heavily and the fact that no matter who gets nominated, they're going to have a bunch of weaknesses and pitfalls shows that Trump is walking into a winning fight. But again, sharing this video could help break some echo chambers. And for the rest of you, I notice many people haven't subscribed. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so that YouTube will finally start telling you when I have videos, because they don't. Let's read the story from Politico. They report, Michael Bloomberg is privately lobbying Democratic Party officials and donors allied with his moderate opponents to flip their allegiance to him and block Bernie Sanders in the event of a brokered national convention. The effort, largely executed by Bloomberg's senior state-level advisors in recent weeks, attempts to prime Bloomberg for a second ballot contest at the Democratic National Convention in July by poaching supporters of Joe Biden and other moderate Democrats, according to two Democratic strategists familiar with the talks and unaffiliated with Bloomberg. Now, I believe it's fair to say, what Bloomberg is plotting here isn't overt cheating. Like the brokered convention, hey, that's coming. So Bloomberg wants to get ready because he wants to win. However, Bloomberg has bought his way into this race. If the Democratic establishment, which has already catered to this billionaire's demands, now decide they're going to give him the nomination, he will have bought and paid for the nomination, stealing it from the actual populist Bernie Sanders. Thus, the whole big picture, when you step back, is nothing but crony establishment cheating. But hey, are we surprised? It's no surprise to me that Donald Trump and other Republicans defend Bernie and mention the DNC's cheating. Everyone's got issues with the Democratic establishment. Steve Bannon, speaking to Bill Maher, said he likes Bernie. Bernie's identified the problem, but he's got the wrong solutions. I think it's fair to say There is a populist position shared by many Americans, the rejection of the elites. Donald Trump's the populist for the right, Bernie Sanders for the left, and they disagree on a lot of issues. But at the end of the day, everyone's pointing the finger at the establishment, which is selling the position to Michael Bloomberg. Let's read more. The outreach has involved meetings and telephone calls with supporters of Biden and Buttigieg, as well as uncommitted DNC members in Virginia, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, and North Carolina, according to one of the strategists who participated in meetings and calls. With Sanders' emergence as the frontrunner in the presidential primary, Democrats in those states have recently raised the prospect that the Democratic Socialist could be the top of the ticket liability, liability. There's a whole operation going on, which is genius, said one of the strategists who is unaffiliated with any campaign. And it's going to help them win on the second ballot. They're telling them that's their strategy. This is why I have basically said I'm out to the Democrats. I was planning on voting in this primary. I was really excited for Andrew Yang or Tulsi, and I may have voted for somebody else to get the nomination, but I am so done with this. They are bragging about how they are going to take away the nomination from the popular candidate to give based on the elites. Now, let me point some out. Bernie Sanders is very much pro popular vote at the national level. Here he is maintaining that same principle in the Democratic primary. If I get the popular vote, I should have the nomination. I respect that. The delegation process is not the same as the Electoral College. In the United States, the Electoral College creates a balance between more rural areas and more urban areas because we're a republic, not a direct democracy. I respect the Electoral College in that regard. Superdelegates are crony establishment elites who can subvert the popular vote with their own choice, and there's no reason they should be given this weighted power at all. When it came to the delegate assignment process, Pete Buttigieg won more rural districts in Iowa than Bernie did. Thus, he got more delegates. To me, that makes sense. He appeals to a wider base than Bernie does. But the super delegate process they're bragging about, as far as I'm concerned, is overt cheating. Super delegates are party elites. They've been given the position and they're going to say, I want Bloomberg. And Bloomberg paid for it all. Let's read some more. It's a presumptuous play for a candidate who hasn't yet won a delegate or even appeared on a ballot. And it could also bring havoc to the convention, raising the prospect of party insiders delivering the nomination to a billionaire over a progressive populist. We know how the Democrats are. If you're a Sanders supporter, if you're a populist on the left, I know a lot of people will consider themselves Democrats, but I think we can see it for what it is. The progressives are not Democrats. Bernie is an independent. They're an insurgent campaign, same as Trump was, and the establishment is outraged. Other candidates have been quietly in contact for months with superdelegates, the DNC members of Congress, and other party officials who cannot vote on the first ballot at a contested national convention. But none have showcased it as a feature of their campaign, as Hillary Clinton did in 2016. Asked about Bloomberg's efforts, spokeswoman Julie Wood said Thursday, "We have an enormous apparatus that is constantly reaching out to all types of people for support and to explain why we think Mike is the best candidate to take on Donald Trump." I don't know if you saw the story, but the Washington Post wrote an article, it was an op-ed, I believe, that said we should give more power to the elites to choose our leaders. I can only imagine what the founding fathers would think if that's the kind of rhetoric being pushed forward in today's politics. The elites should decide. Maybe they would agree. I don't know. But in this country, it's founded upon the idea that from the poorest to the richest, we get a vote, we get a say in who our representatives are. Today, the establishment wants to make sure the cronies get to pick. How is that actually a democratic institution? I get it. We're not a democracy, but we expect our vote to matter. But if before you even get to the general election, the Democratic National Committee decides who you can even choose to vote for, we don't even have a democratic process for electing a representative. Therein lies the big problem. They're refusing to give up their crony power, and they might lose it because even if they stop Bernie Sanders today, come the next election, it's going to be bedlam tenfold. I can only imagine what Antifa and Bernie bros will do in the streets of Milwaukee when it's stolen from him again. Now, you may think, let's say you're a Bernie supporter. There's probably some of you. You might think that this won't happen and Bernie will win. Maybe. The polls have been wrong. But check out this prediction model from 538. It recently just flipped in the past day that no one will win the nomination. Now, for a while, Bernie Sanders was projected. And for some reason, after Bernie, it's Joe Biden. But Michael Bloomberg is quickly rising because he's got the cold hard cash to buy the process. And unfortunately, it works. But now that we can see no one will win, we're going to a contested convention. And that means Bloomberg's efforts will likely pay off. And now I'll give a warning to all of the people who don't like Trump, who find themselves on the left and want an alternative. I'm sorry. Michael Bloomberg is 10 to 20 times worse what Donald Trump is. He speaks ill, worse than Trump ever could. He's actually enacted racist and bigoted policies in New York and bragged about them. He is everything the Democrats have claimed Trump is and worse, and he is buying and now stealing the entire process. I am not a fan of Bernie Sanders' policies and a lot of the things he has said in the past, and I've been very critical of him. But I will absolutely maintain, if the Democrats choose Bernie Sanders to be the nominee, so be it. That is their right to choose. And I will disagree with Mr. Sanders and our Senator Sanders, and I will disagree with President Trump, and we'll see how things play out. But that's not what we're given. We're being handed a crony elitist billionaire on the ticket. I hope it does not come to Bloomberg. But while the Democrats seem to think Bloomberg is their saving grace because people are scared of Bernie Sanders, you're wrong. I will never vote for Michael Bloomberg. That will never happen. And I'm that moderate that you want to win over. Now, I don't think I'm representative of everybody. I don't know. But I certainly feel like there's a lot of people like me who find ourselves politically homeless, who used to be, fans of Obama. There are many people who voted for Obama, flipped for Trump. You're not going to win them back. Many of those people were interested in Andrew Yang. Well, you lost them. Now, I also think Bernie Sanders does present serious problems. And I hate to say it because a lot of people, look, I get it, man. The DNC is cheating your candidate to the Bernie fans. But a lot of people, the moderates, just do not think he'll win. I don't understand how this is the choice I'm being given. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. I'm not going to vote for him. But it's beyond just being a socialist. It's the flip-flopping on immigration, on workers' rights, on social justice rhetoric. I can't support that. But you're going to give me Michael Bloomberg? No. I might consider Pete Buttigieg, but I just do not think he has the charisma. And ultimately, he comes off like another establishment figure, only this time they're pretending he's not. So, sorry, I'm just not interested in what you're offering. But Bloomberg is seriously, if you put Bloomberg up against Trump, Trump becomes the lesser of two evils. But take a look at this story from the Post and Courier. South Carolina is a seriously important state. And we can see this. Joe Cunningham slams Bernie Sanders' socialism ahead of 2020 Democratic primary. This is a guy who is a Democratic congressman. They say U.S. Rep. Joe Cunningham is one of only two Democratic congressmen from South Carolina forcefully rebuked U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders on Wednesday, jolting the state's first in the South presidential primary race just hours after the Vermont senator won in New Hampshire. These are the states Bernie would have to win. I think what we're seeing is that regardless of the Democrats cheating, they've split down the middle. I just do not see a victory for them. I could be wrong. Now, Bernie Sanders has recently split from some more of the far left candidates. There's a rift between him and AOC. I don't think this is a big deal, but I highlight this just to accent the point I made about the split. Even Bernie Sanders recognizes this. And he has said either AOC has gone too far or not far enough because there's confusion in the ranks about what message they need to actually win. And now here's where y'all Bernie Sanders supporters are going to get mad at me. Slate.com is anything but a right-wing site. They are a left-wing site. And they wrote this article. What are the chances Sanders has another heart attack before November? I hate to break it to you, but at his age, there's a 50% chance that he will actually be hospitalized again. And there's a 30 to 35% chance that he will actually face another heart attack. Slate says, by virtue of 4 incident-free months on the trail, that number is now lower for Sanders, but his chance of another hospitalization between now and November alone likely remains between 30 to 35%. Bernie Sanders had a heart attack. That's going to be bad for him in the general election. He's got supporters who say vile things and take vile action. And this means while you may think he's the real progressive populist who deserves to win, and he's getting that popular vote, it's going to be bad news. And the mainstream Democratic establishment has a reason to fear him. But you know what? I stand on principle. I don't care if you're afraid. I don't care if Bernie is going to lose. A lot of people who support Bernie think he will win. More power to you. I think he'll lose. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the Democrats are scared. He's the choice of the people. Assuming he is, then he should get the nomination. What I find particularly interesting is that right now, Bernie Sanders has taken the lead. Biden has collapsed. I show this aggregate for the Democratic voters mostly because I don't understand why someone would claim to want to vote for Biden up until Biden lost. Now they claim they want to vote for Bernie. Seems like many of the voters are voting on a whim. The biggest issue for Democrats is probably whether or not the candidate will just win and beat Trump. But that flip from Biden to Bernie and now the rise of Bloomberg shows, I'm sorry, you don't have the party unity to actually stop Trump. And now we can see how Republicans have responded. Republican revenge. Record GOP field forms on 2020 mission to take down socialists. This to me was surprising because my understanding was that Republicans were laughing at the rise of the far left, thinking that they would win and will be unstoppable if Bernie gets the nomination. But a lot of people are freaked out. Fox News reports in 2019 alone, 781 Republicans filed federal paperwork to run for the House, the most ever recorded in an odd year at the Federal Election Commission. That's up from 593 GOP candidates in 2017, when Democrats had an astounding 937 candidates at the same point. Republican candidates across the country interviewed by Fox News said they feel momentum is on their side this time, energized by President Trump and his impeachment acquittal. Congressional hopefuls are making the case that Trump needs a fighter like them in the House, or else the country will succumb to a socialist Democrats' plans. Quote, I'm tired of seeing my president attacked every day, said Marjorie Greene, a GOP businesswoman and first-time congressional candidate running for an open seat in Georgia's 14th district. I'm tired of seeing our future threatened. I'm tired of seeing my children's future extremely threatened. And it's time to get off the bench and really step up to the plate. This is the story I was actually basing my previous point off of. Down ballot Republicans watch with glee as Sanders gains steam. Trump and Republicans are suffering in the suburbs, but their confident voters there will view Bernie as worse. We'll see how that plays out. Populist versus populist. Frank Luntz, the famous pollster, says it's going to be a gruesome battle. But let's talk about the odd phenomena that is the media. You see, the media likes to smear Donald Trump. But I actually think one of the biggest reasons Democrats are in free fall and falling apart is because the media does not care. They seek to exploit. Republicans don't trust the media. They ignore it. So they are unified under Trump's message. But the left does pay attention to the media, and the media isn't giving them a cohesive message. I absolutely have to point out this hilarious article from The Atlantic titled, Trump is going to cheat. Oh, Trump is going to cheat. Oh, because I thought we already witnessed the Democrats cheating in 2016 and are actually witnessing it right now. Oh, but it's Trump who's going to do it. Okay, sure. No, Trump is going to win because Trump's got an economy on his side. He's got unity on his side. And you know what? That's the problem of the Democrats. But I love how the media is just trying to goad people into clicking their stories. This creates a serious problem for the Democrats. Take a look at this story from Vox. The most mind-numbing thing I've ever seen. I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I now have to defend Michael Bloomberg. Yes, I must do it. I have no problem defending Donald Trump when the media lies, defending Bernie Sanders when the media lies, and now I have to defend Michael Bloomberg because the media is lying in the most insane way possible. Vox reports Mike Bloomberg tweeted a doctored debate video. Is it political spin or disinformation? Here's a good one from the new civil rights movement.com. Propaganda. Bloomberg destroyed for posting deep fake hoax clip of his debate performance to make him look better. And over on Google, we can see just about all of these sites on the left writing a story claiming that Michael Bloomberg doctored a video. Let me show you what really happened. Brendan Carr, this is a commissioner for the FEC. I don't know if he's currently. He says political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. Equating this type of political speech with doctored deepfakes or illegal content is a serious mistake. You see, Michael Bloomberg is trying to win, but he's not going to, even if the Democratic establishment steals the nomination from Bernie, because the media is not on their side. The media is on the side of exploitation and getting clicks. Now, I think it is fair to say there's a lot of progressive activists in media who lie to benefit their ideology. Perhaps this is what we're seeing with Vox and this left-wing site. A lot of these more progressive websites want Bernie Sanders to win and are rejecting the Democratic establishment. So as far as I can see, the Democratic establishment has lost serious allies in media. Michael Bloomberg made a video. That was it was a long drawn out silence with crickets in the background, meant to accent the fact that no other Democrat had started a business. It was obviously fake because nobody thinks there were actually crickets inside the debate studio. Yet for some reason, all of these outlets wrote that it was a doctored video or misinformation. And now we can see this response from people on Twitter. PolitiFact says this: the video is mostly false. It was selectively edited to make it look like Bloomberg left the other Democratic candidates speechless for 20 seconds. Selectively edited. It was intentionally made to be funny. It's called a joke. One guy says, Glenn Kessler, one has to seriously question the credibility of any campaign that would push out such a manipulated video. These reaction shots are unrelated to the 2-second moment in the debate. This is a dangerously slippery slope that will lead to a nuclear war of fake videos. It is a joke. You people have lost your minds. Ben Rhodes says this is pure disinformation. Then we have Pedro da Costa. Doctoring videos in this manner would be career-ending in journalism. Sure. Joe Rosbar says this is straight up disinformation. In addition to being creepy and diluted, and they should take it down. This is absolutely insane. But of course, the media establishment is split. I can't tell you why they're so shocked that Bloomberg would make a joke. Maybe there are many people who don't like these buying the process, but he's probably going to steal the nomination. You may have seen this story. I love this. I tell you, I do so many stories like this. Bombshell report. Lawmakers are warned that Russia is meddling to re-elect Trump. Oh, my stars and garters. I was nearly in tears when I heard that 2016 was happening all over again, that Russia was coming to steal the election for Trump. Whatever should I do? But how about wait 24 hours so that journalists can come out and say, oops, that's not actually what happened. That's right. Jake Tapper publishes a thread saying, actually, they're not trying to help Trump. Yeah, we get it. Here's what he calls it pushback from a national security official saying that's the story being reported isn't what actually happened. Why is it that whenever a big story breaks about Trump doing something with Russia, we wait 24 hours and then, nothing? That's what they're doing to Bloomberg right now. And I hate to defend the guy, is so similar to what they do to Trump when Trump posts a meme video. They call it doctored and manipulated. The media is a mindless slog of just manipulation attempts to get you to click stuff. And then they tell you, they falsely frame things. It's a trick. I'd like to think that in many ways, the media establishment, the Democratic establishment are intertwined, and they kind of are. Because the websites that are attacking Bloomberg for this ad are the more progressive digital sites. But therein lies the main point, the main takeaway. While the Democrats are planning to cheat to steal the election, the media is creating a false narrative to smear Trump, and progressives are smearing Bloomberg. What's really going on is the civil war is on the left. People like me are pushed out. I'm gone. But then you can see the progressive media smearing the establishment smearing the progressives and Trump. And then when it comes to the actual nomination, you've got the DNC establishment doing everything in their power to steal the nomination away from Bernie for the second time. You can't stop the wave. You've lost. The crony establishment has lost. It's over. I'm not a fan of these far left lying progressive websites. I'm not a fan of the media establishment lying about Trump or Bloomberg either. I don't know what to tell you, though. You want to get some real news. I hate to say it, but if you're talking about cable news, Fox News has been more accurate than CNN and MSNBC. Take a look at Russiagate. Yep, Fox News was right. The rest weren't. And now you can see how the New York Times said, look what really happened. And of course, it's Jake Tapper of CNN. I'll give him credit for this, coming out and saying an official I spoke to was pushing back. All right. Your stories are fake. They've always been fake. And this means because Trump supporters do not trust the media, they're unified. And Bernie and Bloomberg will duke it out. And we'll see if the DNC successfully cheats and steals the nomination from Bernie. Regardless of who gets it, neither is going to win. I'm sorry. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. at youtube.com/TimCastNews. It is a different channel, and I will see you all there.